How's the camera? Okay, so where did we leave off? We'll just start over again.
Yeah, we just started.
That's
cool.
Yeah. So we'll just start over again. So yeah, Steven Perez, brown belt Mortalis.
Yeah.
Full-time athlete now. You're not doing anything else.
So I do have like a part-time job.
Yeah, but
just for
but it's not like a
stuff.
career.
No.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So back to like what you were saying about how you started doing jiu-jitsu.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't. We went to high school together, and I didn't have any aspirations or had I even started jiu-jitsu at that point. So what really got me into it is obviously like at that point everybody was watching UFC.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that, and I kind of wanted to know what the hell was going on there. But even more so, my brothers, David and Alex, David, who you had on the last podcast, they both wrestled in middle school and high school. And I actually almost went to Columbus so that I can wrestle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But that's what that was. So that's Columbus starts in 9th grade. So in 8th grade, you were considering Columbus to go wrestle.
Yeah. Just so I can go wrestle. Because my brother was a 2-time state finalist. And
that's David?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that.
Yeah. No, he was a stud, man. He was a stud. Yeah, I don't even think he lost too many matches in his wrestling career.
Yeah,
to be honest, he was like all date and stuff like that.
Damn,
but whatever.
Dude.
So he wrestled in high school. My other brother wrestled in high school. I wanted to wrestle in high school, but I ended up going to St. Brendan. And
why the choice of St. Brendan?
Well, to be honest with you,
I know where you're going.
You know.
Dude, I went to an all-boys school, and that's why I decided to go to.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, St. Brendan was like 5 girls to every one guy.
Yeah.
And at 13, that sounds pretty. That
sounds awesome, dude. I had an English class or a Spanish class that I think it was 20 students, and I was the only dude in it.
Right. Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's what I tell people all the time. We would have a class of like 30 people, or 32 people, 2 guys divided.
Yeah. And they were sitting on other opposites of the room.
Right, exactly. So it was like, you take 15, I'll take 15.
Yeah, we'll divide and conquer.
Exactly. So that's why I ended up going to St. Brendan. And
did you regret it at any time when you were at St. Brendan? Like, damn, I could be wrestling right now.
At the time, no. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not at that time. I think about it now more so than back then.
Right.
So then a couple years later, I want to say, so I started officially jiu-jitsu in 2018, January 3rd of 2018.
Dude, everybody remembers the fucking day. Dude.
Yeah.
I don't remember the day I started at all.
For sure.
So you started at the beginning of 2018.
Beginning of 2018.
And how was that? Like, did you ever do any type of grappling before that? Like, maybe not in the setting of practice.
Just with my brothers.
Okay.
Just growing up with my brothers.
So how was that experience that first day?
So I mean, my brother David is like 13 years older than me.
Yeah.
So when I was like 5, he was a senior in high school. Right. So at that point, I was like going to practices with them and stuff like that. And I would just kind of mess around with the other kids' brothers or whatever, like whoever was there, or like the lighter guys, the 106s. And,
right.
So that was kind of like my intro to grappling. But in 2015, I was like maybe 2021. My brother was like, hey, come and try jiu-jitsu. I think you're going to like it. You always wanted to wrestle. You never got to wrestle. So try it out. I tried it out. I went to this school that he was at for a little while.
Yeah.
They had a Friday class, which was basically like an open mat, no gi. So I did that for about a month.
Just an open mat.
Yeah. So I went to like 4 to like 6 classes, but it was just on Fridays.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But the school environment wasn't for me.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
And other things in my life, it just wasn't the right time.
Right.
You know? So then I started again in 2017. And again, time didn't like, it wasn't the right time for that.
You started 2016 or 2017?
I tried it 2015.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Then 2 years later, I tried going back.
Right, 2017, okay.
And then I actually did the Fire Academy.
Oh, okay.
So I finished that November of 2017.
Oh, nice.
And then 2018 is when I like officially started and did all that.
And how was that? So there's a difference. So like when you started first in 2015, and that period you were just going to one class. You didn't like the school environment, and then now in 2018, you started again.
Yeah.
But I imagine there was like a transitionary period that you were doing maybe one class, maybe 2 classes a week, or did you just start full blown?
So I think I originally started with like 3 classes a week.
Yeah.
Because at the time I just needed something to do anyway.
Right.
And my brother was there. So
Right.
I was like, all right, this is cool. Like we can kind of just mess around.
Right.
And then I want to say a month or 2 in, 3 turned into like 5, and then 5 turned into 7 after. For sure. No, I probably would say like 5 turned into like 6 every once in a while. And then 3 months later, I competed at the Miami Open. That was my first competition.
IBJJF?
Yeah.
Gi? No gi?
Gi.
How was that?
I got second place.
But hold on, but you were 20 something, right?
I was, like.
So you were in the adult division?
I was 24 at the time.
You're in adult division, and you've been training for how many months? Like
3.
3 months?
Yeah.
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That was all right.
I mean, there's a lot of people in your bracket at that age.
Yeah. There was like 22 people in that bracket.
That's what I'm saying. So like that's I mean, I get like, okay, you just started, whatever, it's your first competition, but if you really take it to like the numbers of competitors that are there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
I mean, a lot of people in that bracket would have at least 20 people wish that they were me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So then
so
is that when you like really decided to go completely into making this your pursuit?
Yeah. At the time, I remember competing for the first time and like absolutely loving it. I mean, the anxiety of it, the preparation, all of that, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I remember after that, so I was mainly a top player.
Yeah.
Like for the 3 months, I just played top.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good to be. That's where you want to be in reality.
Yeah.
You want to be a top player.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially now. But at the time, I was mainly a top player. And after that competition in the finals, guy took me down. I couldn't really do anything after that.
Okay.
So after that, I just forced myself to play guard.
Oh, cool.
And on top of that, I just trained 7 days a week. So that was really the beginning of
that turned
like my pursuit.
So
I knew that from then on, I just wanted to like do this.
That's great, man. So the Miami Open opened up your pursuit towards being full-time athlete.
Yeah.
So you started doing the guard.
Yeah.
And how was that starting off as you were a top player, going back and just working on the guard? How was those first couple of weeks? What did it look like? You would just put yourself in that position?
Yeah. I would just sit. Sit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was frustrating at first, obviously. Right. You know, like anything.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like if you tell someone that's never wrestled to wrestle, like they're gonna get frustrated.
Yeah.
But I think because of the fact that I put myself there, it was a little bit less frustrating because I knew the end goal. You know, I knew what I wanted to achieve by doing that. So I was like, all right, like I'm giving myself this time frame to be able to figure this out. And the way that I see it, and I always tell people this, that's fine for you to be a top player, but you need a B game and a C game to support your A game.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter. Like if you want to play top, that's cool.
Right.
Like I'm not telling you not to, but the moment that you get swept and put on your ass,
which will happen,
you need to get back.
Right.
Right. Because if not, then you're just stuck.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you're Gordon Ryan passing. The moment you get swept, what happens?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's a good mentality to have, especially like people that do well in jiu-jitsu have that tendency to be like, I suck at this. I need to work on this. And now I'm going to focus on doing the guard stuff, which the guard stuff is like top is fun, but the guard stuff, once you get the hang of it, can be extremely fun.
Yeah.
Like it has so many sweeps and so many attacks that you know, you don't really think about it if you don't work on it. You know what I mean? And it could be a really dominant position to really like not getting past.
Yeah, if you're really good at guard, it's a nice weapon to have.
Dude, and combine that with leg locks.
Yeah,
it's really fucking.
That's
sick.
really like the 1-2. You know, like if you have really good guard retention, and then on top of that, you can just snatch someone's leg.
Mm-hmm.
You'll freak a lot of people out.
What do you think your style is right now? Like stylistically, what are you strong at? What are your favorite positions?
So stylistically, I would say I'm a top player.
Okay.
Although not too many people have seen that in competition right now.
Really?
Yeah, not too many people have seen me passing. But if you come to the gym, like you'll see me passing a lot more. So what happens is that you kind of have to exploit whatever your opponent's weaknesses are. And if I know that I'm way ahead, like maybe we're pretty close in certain areas.
Right.
Well, if I know that my leg locks are way better than yours, or at least like way better than your defense, I'm going to exploit that.
Right.
So a lot of times I will sit just because I know that I can probably drop back and get into a leg lock or like get under someone.
That's, man, that means you have to have, like, if you know that your A game and going to competition, so you're going to competition.
Yeah.
And you say that your A game is passing, right? And you haven't seen a lot of competition. That means that you're really confident in your, what you would call B and C game as well.
Yeah.
That you could put it against, you're willing to change your style, essentially.
Yeah.
Depending on the opponent.
Yeah. I would like to think that I have a pretty well-rounded game.
Yeah, you would have to be.
And I think it goes back to that first competition where it kind of just like set the tone for wherever I feel I need to work on something, I will.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't necessarily like leaving holes in my game. Like some people will only chase leg locks. And then if you're with someone that's of equal ability in that area, then what? Right. Then they usually get smashed.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll usually find that the leg locker who doesn't catch someone will end up getting smashed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Dude, but that means, I mean, it has to mean that you have a well-rounded game, because if you're confident enough to go against somebody at your level, to be like, I'm not going to do my A, I'm going to do my B.
Yeah.
It has to mean that your game's well-rounded.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have,
and it also throws people off. Like people don't realize that I can wrestle. They have no idea.
Yeah, well, now they're gonna know.
I mean, they can believe me if they want, but they don't have to. So
the next competition is gonna. Bah!
Yeah. So
how do you set up for? So you had your first tournament.
Yeah.
You started to pursue it more actively. Did you take breaks between? What level were you at the Miami Open?
White belt.
You're a white belt. So have you set breaks? Did you have breaks between that and now that you're brown?
The only real break that I had was when I tore my ACL.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I just went to an open mat, and man, I was feeling amazing. I was like really fluid, flowing really, really well. My attacks were firing off exactly how I needed them to be, and then I rolled with someone, and I guess they had been watching me roll, and it was like 30 seconds into the roll, they just kind of like dropped back and just went for a heel hook. And I was like, dude,
so it happened quick. Is that like
we just started? Like, we just started. What is going on? I kept on rolling, like with that same person.
Yeah.
I obviously
did you feel it snap when it happened?
I didn't feel anything, but we both heard it.
Oh no!
Yeah, we both heard it. It was just like a loud like snap, and
are you okay? Okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
he was like, "You good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think my knee just cracked." Because sometimes my knees will crack.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I think it's just that." But whatever, you got it, you know.
Right.
So we kept on rolling, and at some point I was mounted on top of him, and I felt like this rush go through my knee, and I was like, it's probably not good. And it wasn't because like 5 minutes later my knee cooled down, and
then it started hurting.
Yeah,
dude, that sucks, man. That
Stiff.
sucks. And it's always a day that you feel good.
Man, I felt amazing.
You feel good, you're flowing, everything's coming out the way you think it is, and then pops.
Yeah, it sucked.
How long was that break?
From competition
or from training? Like, let's do both. Let's do, how long was the break from training? How long was it from competition?
From training, it was like a week and a half.
Like a true jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Did you go to I mean, imagine you went to a doctor.
I did go to the doctor. He was ready to operate. Yeah.
And you were not about it.
No.
So how'd you rehab it?
So I basically just did like knees over toes stuff.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
And that shit worked for you?
Yeah. It was really, really good.
I've been hearing like great things about that.
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly.
So what did you do specifically? Did you do like the backwards walking? I tried to do a lot of the I think he calls it split squats,
where you're kind of like stretched out.
Yeah.
I tried to do those, but those were a little difficult. There's some other ones where you kind of step on a platform,
Okay.
and then you try to like bring your other foot down
Right.
as you bend your knee.
Yeah.
Those are really good too, because it adds a lot of stability in your knee.
Okay.
Yeah, it strengthens everything around.
I imagine you still do that shit too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not
man.
as much as I probably should, but yeah, I do.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You didn't need surgery, dude, because surgery will take you out for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, it wasn't fully torn, but it was over 75%. So it's like basically hanging on by a string.
Yeah, that's basically all of it.
Right, exactly.
So the knees over toes, man. I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah,
that's good that you recover, man. Because being out with surgery is motherfucker. Because that's like another injury in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to rehab that and all that stuff. So
right, that was my whole thing. Is like that was, I want to say, like 2 years ago. So I was like 28.
Yeah.
I figured it was going to take me like a year and a half to recover.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I'm going to be almost 30 by the time I start competing again. Like, that's not
that's
cool.
A good, yeah. And you figured the way that you were, I imagine this was like the thought process that you had, is that you were walking, you're like, I think it's going to recover better.
Yeah. Like I just figured if I need to do the surgery, I'll do it at some point, like if it gets fucked up again, like I'll just
like
do
50,
the
I'll
surgery.
do it.
Right, exactly.
I don't need it.
At that point, I'm not competing, so who cares, So I would rather take advantage now,
right,
and just try to like do what I can. If the doctor tells me like, hey, like your knee, you have to do this,
right,
then fine, I have to do it. But the way that I figured was like, I'm just gonna see how far I can go without doing it, and then go from there.
So the doctor didn't tell you had to do it. He like suggested it. When
No. He was like, we can get you in here in 2 weeks to do the fucking surgery. And I was like, give me a little bit.
I know this guy, knees over toes. Like, toes over knees.
I hate those guys.
Yeah, but the thing is that doctors like they kind of like always want to give you. They always want to put you in the surgery. For everything. Yeah. So I get that. That's good that it recovered, man. So what do you do? What do you do now to kind of like? How's your day to day like? Because you're pursuing this full time.
Yeah.
I imagine you have high aspirations.
Yeah.
And there's a workload that comes with that.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested, since I'm not a competitor and I'm not pursuing those type of goals, how the athlete prepares every day. And I think other people would be interested in that as well. So what does your day to day look like?
So basically, right now it's looking a little bit different just because I did tweak my knee recently. It's finally feeling better.
Okay.
But I was actually gonna do trials, and I ended up not being able to do it because of my knee.
The ones in
it's actually happening right now.
Yeah, the ones in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I was actually gonna do that, and
it's probably better that you didn't rush it, bro.
Right. Exactly. I figured it gives me another year and a half to get ready for the next one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So basically my day-to-day before was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I would do the 5:30 class that we have.
Morning?
Yeah, in the morning.
Okay.
Then
so you're waking up at what, like 5, 4?
5.
Damn, that's early, bro.
5. I don't need but like 5-10 minutes to get ready. Just go.
You just wear whatever you're wearing. You go. You
just go
the night before.
Right. Yeah, I would just pack my bag the night before and then just go. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 in the morning. Then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 p.m. I would go to class. But on Fridays, it depends. Like sometimes I'll go to Freedom, sometimes I'll go to Art in Motion, just depending. But I'll still train. Then Tuesday,
like the open mat, you mean, or just an actual class?
So if it's our class, then there's a Friday class.
Okay.
And then Freedom and Art in Motion, those are like open mats. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Tuesday and Thursday, I will work out at 9:30 in the morning with my brother. Then we had an 11 o'clock class, which Thursday is more of like a pro training.
Okay.
And then Tuesday and Thursday, we have the 6:30 class.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that as well.
So you're training. You're training at least twice a day, right?
Yeah, twice a day, and then Saturday and Sunday I train once. So Saturday, I'll go to whatever open mat I can find, or just like a drill session. And then Sunday is our open mat, and
Yeah.
I will lift at like 9 o'clock before.
Shit.
Yeah.
So that's your training schedule. So what is it like when in terms of recovery, and what do you eat, and what does your workout look like? So let's start with, do you plan what you're going to eat? Do you have a certain dietary regimen?
Yeah. I meal prep every Sunday.
Oh, cool.
So after open mat, I'll go to Publix or Sprouts or wherever. Usually Publix because it's so close. It's convenient, but it's kind of fucking with my wallet.
Yeah, dude. I get you, man. I get you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I get
with
you.
all your kids, you know.
Yeah, I got a squad.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, so I'll do that Sunday. It's basically the same thing, but really I'm just worried about like getting as much organic stuff that I can. It's very simple though, so it's like rice, chicken, ground meat, like organic ground meat, sweet potatoes, salmon, blueberries, Greek yogurt. Sometimes I try to stay away from the dairy, to be honest. I don't feel great when I have a lot of dairy.
That makes sense.
So I have Greek yogurt as like a snack every once in a while.
Your stomach you can feel kind of heavy, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I get really like swollen.
Yeah.
You know? Like what else? I'll have bone broth.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. That's like huge.
Why?
It's just a really good thing to start your day with. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it helps with your skin, with your with joints, hair, like all kinds of stuff. And it's like 10 grams of protein for a cup.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
you drink it like water, like you put it like a soup.
I mean,
you have to heat it up.
I just drink it cold.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
I'm a savage like that. I just drink it cold.
Okay. Like, fuck it. I'm just drinking this.
So on Andrew Huberman, he'll say that you're supposed to wait like an hour and a half after waking up,
right,
with water, before you have like your first cup of coffee. So I will have my water. I'll wait. I'll have my bone broth and then my coffee.
Oh shit!
If I have coffee.
Do you plan the meals depending on the type of workout you're gonna have, like when you're gonna have that protein intake?
Yeah, so I'll set up all my meals, and then depending on how I feel after my workout, or if I know it's going to be a tough day, I'll kind of eat certain meals over others.
Yeah, like I imagine, this may sound ridiculous because I don't know shit about this, but I imagine you eat the carbs before the workout, or would you eat them afterwards? Random question. I'm just for my curiosity.
No, so basically the way that I'll do it is like, let's say on a Tuesday, I'll have my breakfast. So I'll have my my bone broth with 4 eggs and like the Dave's Killer Bagel.
Okay.
Because that's like another, I don't know, 10 to 15 grams of protein.
Okay.
So I'll have that as like basically my breakfast almost every day. And then I'll do my workout. Then I'll train. Then depending on how that session felt, and if I know the next session is going to be tough, then I'll kind of pick like the heavier carbs for that session, and then get ready for the next one.
And how are you doing with in terms of recovery? Like, how are you dealing with, because you're working on a lot, dude.
Yeah,
like you're gonna get sore, I imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Or did your body kind of get used to it already?
You do kind of get used to it, but there are ways of you just like adding certain things. So like I'll try to get some stretching in. I'm not the best with it, but I'll try to get some stretching in. Try to get some sleep too, like get naps in when I can, because that's like the easiest thing, right? Like there's nothing easier, and it's free, right? Like you don't have to look it up on YouTube. You don't have to like talk to anybody like a nutritionist or a physical therapist. They're probably going to tell you just take a nap, you know?
Right.
So I'll try to get naps in when I can. Try to stretch a little bit, the knees over toe stuff. Yeah. When I can, you know, just simple stuff like that.
Well, that's good, man.
I probably should go like, I mean, I would love to do ice baths, but that also gets expensive.
Dude, it's crazy. I have an ice bath in my house, not the cool one.
Yeah.
The one that you have to put ice in.
Yeah.
And it's not just, I don't know if people think about this, but
that's what I have.
it's not just the ice. It's also you have to clean that shit out, dude.
Right.
And that's a hassle too.
Yeah,
The
especially
water
if you
bill,
have like the plastic one.
that's what
You have to like clean it out
Yeah,
and
with like
stuff.
Dawn, you have to wash the shit
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Because if not, you get skin infection from that.
Right, because plastic is super porous.
Yeah. That's crazy.
People don't take that into consideration.
No,
They
I
just
didn't.
like
I did.
let it go.
I did. Now I clean it like every other day just to get it out. But dude, that's the water for that.
Yeah,
and think about the ice.
Crazy.
It's too much.
I know, but what I tell people is like, don't buy bags of ice. Buy water bottles, freeze them, and then you can just keep on reusing.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I do that. But you know what the fucked up thing about that is that they don't get as cold.
I know.
You know, it doesn't get as cold as, and then your body gets kind of used to it. So there's like this weird relationship you have with the ice bath that you want to go colder.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like it's just not as cold for some reason. So that's how you're covered. So I'm interested. And actually, your brother asked me to ask you this: is how do you study? Like in terms of not physical going into drill, but how do you break down studying tape, the instructionals? What's your methodology behind that? Because apparently you're really good at it.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Like, I love.
You get bored when you watch those instructionals? No,
not really, because I'm not looking at it as, okay, you're teaching me this move. I'm looking for concepts.
Okay.
Like I love concepts, because concepts will take you a lot farther than the actual move itself.
You're the second person to tell me that.
Yeah, because I can learn an armbar, but if I understand the concept of an armbar, I'll do it from guard, I'll do it from mount, I'll do it from side control. Like, all the concepts are there. I just have to follow those concepts, and I can do it from anywhere.
Can you give me like an example of a concept? Like if it's an armbar, what would be the concept that you would look for?
Okay, so as far as an armbar, I know
or
that
anything that you want to bring up.
I know that I need to obviously have the fulcrum and the lever, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, where is the beginning of my lever? On one end, I have the wrist and I have the shoulder.
Right.
A lot of people, I can curse, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I been cursing?
Okay. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will fuck up because they're not controlling the shoulder.
Okay.
They don't realize how much control the shoulder is when it comes to an armbar. So just something as simple as like pinching your knees. People like, even brown black belts, they'll like open up their knees and they don't realize that like you need that.
Yeah, they kind of open up their knees.
You need to like be able to control that shoulder. However you do it, right? Like you can throw both legs over the head, to the
you're saying
lat
shoulder,
side.
not elbow, right?
I'm sorry?
You're saying shoulder as in the shoulder, not the elbow.
Yeah, shoulder.
Okay, I'm just trying to picture like.
Yeah. And then another thing is, a lot of people mess up because they try to break down the middle.
Right.
When in reality, in between your hips, there's just a bunch of like mush, right? Break over the hip because it's way harder. You're breaking over your bone, right? So it's like just simple things like that, where as long as you understand those things, you can like take it all the way through.
Yeah, you'll see
Another concept is like going from legs, like lower body attacks to upper body attacks. Like if one's open, then attack that. If they defend one, the other one's gonna be open. Like if I'm attacking an armbar and they go to stack me and stand back up, the legs are right next to me. So you just simple concepts like that.
Transitioning from one to the other.
Yeah.
So do you pick out like what you want to study? Do you have like a system to how you study those tapes, or you just like, oh, this is what I'm focusing on today? Like, who do you go to? Main question is, do you have like a system when it comes to studying tapes?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Sometimes, basically what I do with instructionals is just find like simple concepts that I can actually apply as quick as I can.
Okay.
Now,
so you're not sitting through the whole entire 8 volumes of Danaher's back.
I will.
You will.
I will. But I'll just like, even within those 8 volumes, like there's probably 8 concepts that I can pick up.
Got it.
Right. Or there's 4 concepts that are reiterated throughout, and I'm like finding where they meet.
Okay.
Right. The commonalities between
like
different positions within those concepts. So a lot of times I'll look at instructionals just for those things, and then the actual application will come in like match study.
Okay.
So I'll look at matches, or like like B team has those roles.
Right.
I'll look at those roles and kind of pick up, oh yeah, he did exactly what Danaher was saying in this other video.
Right. Right. So you look at the instructional, and then you'll go and you'll find like a match that they're applying a certain system or whatever the case may be.
I mean, what helps is that I also remember certain parts of matches. Like I remember very specific pretty good recall. So I remember like specific things that people will do in specific matches.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You spend time watching matches too.
Yeah.
That's good, man. How much time do you think do you do that daily? Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do it daily because you like to watch matches regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I like watching matches. Yeah. I'm always like trying to pick out certain things that I need to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like even if it's not like the flashiest thing.
Right.
Like, even just people, they'll let someone pass their guard and I'll be like, oh, how did they like get their knees back in so easily when they only had one frame?
Right.
You know, so just simple things like that. And then like just work from there.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I just take like little things from each. And something that helps me too is actually screen recording on my phone. So I'll screen record and then I'll like look back to like videos as to like why
as you're watching like an event or something.
Yeah, like I'll be watching, I don't know, like
Polaris.
Yeah, Polaris. Yeah. And in a specific match, something happened that I was like, oh, that was really interesting. I'll go back, I'll screen record it, and then I'll just like watch that part over and over again. Sometimes I'll like slow it down because you can just kind of like go through it. Exactly. I'll do that a lot. I find that helps me.
So that's pretty systematic in the way that you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you think about, a lot of people don't do that. Like I was talking to Carmichael and Janusz about this, that a lot of people, they focus on the technique and like, where do you put your hands? Where are you going to put your legs? How are you going to apply the pressure? And they don't focus on those key concepts. And that's something actually that I learned now from Carmichael and Janusz. And I think it's really interesting that you also think about that.
Yeah. I think you just need to understand like why. You know? Like I don't understand why people don't question why you're doing something, right? Like for me, I've always been that kind of person. Like, you don't just tell me to do something, like tell me why I'm doing it, and then I'll never forget that, right? Like even from my parents, like when they were reprimanding me or whatever, I'd be like, okay, but why, right? Like why am I getting in trouble?
I'm sure they love that.
So at least from there, like I know not to do it again. Right? If it's a good enough reason, I'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I didn't think about it like
that. But what if it's not a good enough reason?
Well, then I'm probably gonna do it
again. That's a good point, man. Because I think that at least, like I said, this is something that I learned now, that the idea of concepts. Yeah, you know what I mean. And now I'm starting to see them a lot more. But being able to do that and then link that up with watching the matches and trying to like, I'm assuming that helped you progress a lot.
Yeah.
From where, and when did you start doing that? Since white belt?
Yeah, there was a couple of things that I started doing, like that I think back to now that honestly I was pretty ahead of a lot of things that I just kind of naturally did. Like certain things like white belts, I always tell them to like just breathe, right? Yeah. Like I think that is such a simple thing for you to like excel quickly, because a lot of times when you're in the heat of rolling around, you're just like, you might even be in a good position and you're like breathing so heavy. There's times where, I let some of the white and blue belts work and they're breathing so heavy. And I'm like, you're mounted on top of me. Chill.
Take it easy,
like think about this. Like I have to work. You can sit here for the rest of the 3 minutes and not have to worry about anything. And just simple things like that I was able to think about as I was a white belt and just like coming up the ranks, that it really helped me out. And I think one of those things was just kind of like understanding why I'm doing certain things.
Right.
Versus just doing them. Because like anybody can do them. But once I have an understanding of why I'm actually doing certain things, like it's going to make everything so much easier.
That's true, man, because a lot of people, they'll do the technique that's being shown and they won't think about the why they're doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They won't think about this or that or the other. And I think that's an important concept to have to question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, they won't question their professor.
Right.
And if you're in an environment that you can't question, you're just going to do things blindly and probably lose better concepts.
Yeah.
as you go on, and it'll leave gaps in your game.
Yeah. And I find that a lot of times if you can't ask your professor why you're doing something, it's more than likely because they don't know the answer. Which, number one, is horrible for you, like as a student, right?
Yeah.
And on the other end, it's like, man, just say, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Let me think about it.
Yeah,
Or like,
jiu-jitsu is vast, dude.
right. Like, what's the big deal? Like, there are times where people have asked me something and I'm like, look, I don't really play that game, but let's like figure it out right now.
Right.
Like, I'll help you figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's a better answer than just being like, why are you asking me?
Yeah, it's
Why
an
are you
honest
questioning
answer.
me? You know, it's like,
I mean, it should be. You should be questioning.
because I'm paying you to show me stuff. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, that's what we're doing, right?
Right.
Like, people are paying you for a service, and if you're just truthful and honest with them, like, they're not going to be upset about it.
Yeah, man, that's true. And so, are you like gearing up for something right now?
Right now, I'm gonna do the new breed that's actually at Columbus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I might do the JJS, which is next weekend.
JJS, that's the jiu-jitsu. Which one's that one?
It's I forget. Okay, so it's
Jiu-Jitsu
Jiu-Jitsu Sisterhood.
Yeah,
but they
event.
called it something else for the competition.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but it looks like a good event.
Yeah,
That's a Mortalis, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a good event.
We're
They got a
gonna
couple
host it.
ground game people there too.
Yeah.
Looks like a good thing.
Yeah, so I was thinking about jumping in there.
Yeah, you should, man.
Just to like tune up.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should. I think if you're a competitor, you should be competing as much as you can. You don't want to fuck up your knee, right?
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm like teetering.
Yeah. I think if you feel healthy, you should do it, man.
Yeah.
So you guys hosting that? How's that? Do you have any information on that event?
Not too much because we're just kind of helping them host it. It's not.
It looks like a good event.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be
Yeah.
solid. I like the rule set. It looks like it's
The rule set's good. I think it calls for a lot of action, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that like.
Have you ever dealt with that in competition? Like maybe the other person's up on points or whatever, and they just start fucking stalling on your ass.
Yeah, so I did the Orlando Open, the ADCC.
Okay.
And my first match.
How was that? Okay, you're gonna tell me. Sorry.
No, you're good. My first match was this guy against. Was against this guy that came from New Wave. It was a purple belt from New Wave.
Okay.
And at some point I was like trying to fire off attacks, and I think he realized that I was putting him in danger, and he ended up passing my guard maybe like with a minute left. But then after he told me, he was like, once you got one specific submission on me, he was like, I was basically just trying to like stall you out.
Oh, because he already had the.
He ended up telling me after. He was like, I was just trying to like get you tired and stall you out.
Yeah.
So
that submission, he was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the submission was?
Yeah, so I was actually trying to get a shoulder crunch.
Okay.
Like to sweep him
From
over.
Guard? From butterfly guard?
Yeah, from butterfly. I was trying to get a shoulder crunch sweep. But he actually started like straightening out his arm, which is not what you're supposed to do. Do not do that. But he ended up doing that anyway, and it ended up almost being like a juji,
Okay.
like an armbar.
Yeah.
So
Which you know the concepts for.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, so after that, then he was like, yeah, I gotta just like.
And how do you deal with that?
Tired
Like when you have somebody that's like stalling that way and doesn't want to engage, just doing like anti jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but you go back to like what I was saying before, like instead of just attacking legs, like you have to start like heisting up, going for front headlocks, arm drags, stuff like that to like kind of make them either posture up or put pressure into you, and then depending on what reaction they give you, you take what you get.
What was he doing? Like backing up?
No, he was doing a lot of camping actually. Yeah. Which at the time I was still kind of working on defending it. But now I know the defense.
Do it again, motherfucker.
So it'd be different now.
So how was that event? How was the ADCC?
It was cool.
I've heard cool, and I've also heard like it ran late.
It did run late. It was good though. It was good. Yeah. It was cool. They definitely do not want people stalling. Like I know I just said that my opponent did. Right. But he did it. He did it in a way where, I mean, I wouldn't have called him for stalling.
Right.
I knew because I was in the match.
Right.
But from the outside looking in, it looked like he was trying to pass my guard, and he ended up doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't really. can't really
it's
say
really
that he
hard
was
to
stalling.
control,
Right.
like to say that you're stalling.
Yeah, they're constantly pushing action, which is nice.
Yeah.
So even if I was on the receiving end of that, like it's nice to know that like at least he passed my guard. It wasn't like
You
a
stalled up.
bullshit
Yeah.
ref's decision. You know,
That's true.
I actually don't think I've ever had a match go into ref's decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're either submitting or getting submitted.
kill or be killed.
Oh, that's you know what? That's I appreciate that. That's better. That means you're taking risks too. It has to mean that you're taking risks. You're not going in for like you're not stalling.
I think if you're submission oriented, like that's just your thing, you know, like in order to sub, like you also need to like understand that you're leaving yourself vulnerable at some point. Danaher says it's kind of like a jab.
Yeah.
When you throw the jab, there's a second where you're actually vulnerable,
Right.
because your arm's extended and you don't have that guard. So it's basically the same thing.
That's good, man. That means that you're probably, I mean, I've seen a couple of your tapes leading up to this, but like you're an exciting grappler.
I try to be.
The White Lion, you went to White Lion, right?
Yeah.
And did you win that by leg lock?
So I did a bracket, and one of the matches I won by leg lock.
I saw that match. Yeah, it was slick.
And then there was another. So my first match was against Michael Sains.
Okay.
Who's a beast.
Yeah.
He's really good, man. And I ended up winning that by EBI ride time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my second match was the leg lock, and then I lost in the finals to one of Sean Applegate's guys.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? I mean, what's your favorite rule set to compete in? You don't give a fuck.
Not really.
Just put a body in front of me. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel pretty good in any kind of rule set.
Do you change your game depending
that's not
on it?
like it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm super confident. I just like, I don't really care. I'm just looking for the sub, you know? Like, honestly.
Put whoever in front of me. Fuck it.
Yeah, just like.
What's the rule? I don't give a shit. Let's go.
You know? Like, I mean, I'll try to be smart within that, right?
No,
But like,
I'm kidding.
but man, like, I don't really care. I don't see myself as someone that's like, there are certain people that like, let's say leg lockers.
Yeah.
That will live and die by that, and then like they'll get their guard pass and they're okay with it, because then they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna like let them mount me and go back into the legs. Like, nah, man, like I'm gonna try to make sure that you don't pass my guard. I'm gonna try to leg lock you or come up on a sweep or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'll scrap, you know? I don't mind that.
You go, fuck.
Yeah.
You're like a honey badger.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. I'll scrap.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
But obviously your ultimate goal is well, I mean, the question I was gonna ask before that is like, do you change the way you're going to compete depending on the rule set that's in front of you?
You have to.
Right.
You have to. If you don't, like, I don't think that's very smart.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think that's very smart. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I want to win every match by sub.
Right.
The reality is that unless I'm Gordon Ryan, it's going to be very difficult.
Right.
You know? So you have to be open to the idea of, okay, if I'm not going to get the sub, I need to also be positionally very aware.
Right.
You know, I can't just rely on my subs and be like, oh, fuck it. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to let him mount me because I'm going to let him.
Right.
I'm gonna try to like kipping escape and then go into his legs. You know, I'm not. You can't do that either. Right. You can't, because at the end of the day, like, that's not jiu-jitsu, man.
That's
like,
true.
Like,
that's true. I think you know Mauro.
Yeah.
Mauro had the same opinion. He was the first one on the podcast, and he's like, dude, if you're not trying to look for the submission and you're just at least like trying to like fight, you're not doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, really.
That's why you got in.
Yeah.
That's why you started jiu-jitsu, to get the submission. You know
right.
I mean? Not just to like.
And to be able to defend yourself.
Right.
You know, if you just like let someone sit on top of you, you're not really defending yourself.
That's a good point.
Yeah, maybe you end up getting the leg lock anyway, but that's like.
There's also a gap if you're so reliant on. Let's just say we're in that context of you're letting the guy mount you and you're gonna go to single leg X. That's the context we're in. If your game is like, oh, I'm gonna let him mount me and go to single leg X, that means that your retention probably isn't great.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a big aspect that you're
exactly
a whole aspect that you're missing.
Exactly. So because you're like, your downfall is retention, but it's a sub only match, you're just gonna let him mount you
Right.
so that you can kipping escape and then go into the legs. Like,
Right. Yeah, there's
you
points
kind of
that
gotta
if there's
work on
points that you're
everything, man.
fucked.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like that kind of game.
Right.
There are a lot of guys who are probably a little bit more popular than they should be that have games like that. I'm not talking about in the area. I'm just saying like in general.
No, I get what you're saying.
I just don't necessarily like that game. I don't think it's exciting.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
people
it's
will sit
exciting.
you and they'll go straight to see the guard
Yeah.
and just try to play like the leg and tag one
Yeah.
game, and that can be boring, bro.
Yeah.
Seeing like a whole match is just people trying to go into and does that mean that you don't have anything else in your tool belt?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I would prefer to watch someone who's like more well-rounded,
Yeah.
because then it's like from everywhere it's a chess match, not
Yeah.
just from one area.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I think you should have an A game,
Right.
right? Like, I think everybody does.
Yeah.
But within that, like I said, your B, C, D games should support that,
Right.
not just fall off.
Yeah. So like if you're like in that stage that you're in this leg and tag one shit, you're gonna be like, fuck this, I'm gonna start passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Not like, oh, once I take you, I mean, as a competitor,
Yeah.
if I'm going against someone that's like that, that's perfect for me, because I know once I put you on your back, it's over. Right.
That's what you were saying about like you'll cater your style to
Exactly.
to who you're competing with.
Yeah.
It's an important thing about having
Yeah.
a well-rounded game
Yeah.
because you can make those decisions.
You also need to be able to switch it on a dime, though.
What do you mean?
Because, okay, so example would be like in that White Lion, my first match was against Michael Sains.
Yeah.
I talked to him after the match. He's in high school. He placed
shit.
he placed at States that year
For wrestling?
for wrestling.
Okay.
And when we were going into the match, I was like, I'm gonna go into his legs.
Right.
Like, I know he's gonna want to wrestle me. I'm
Right.
not gonna waste time. It's sub only, right? Like,
Right.
there's no points, so I'm not gonna waste time trying to wrestle him, get him down to the ground when I could just pull under. Well, he pulled even before I did.
Wow. He tried to switch it on you.
Yeah. So then I'm like, all right, we're fighting, whatever. He's gonna come up,
Right. He's gonna wrestle up.
and then he never did. So it ended up being like a lot of leg entanglements. But I needed to like just accept the fact that the fight was now here.
Right.
You know, I couldn't just get stuck there. If
So
not,
you're thinking
like,
during those matches.
you have to.
Yeah, you're
you
thinking
have to
during
be.
those. It's not like just because I've heard it. I might be wrong on this, but I've heard that it's you just go by instinct, like instinct go.
Yes. I think if you're thinking about the actual move itself, that's like you're going too
okay.
far.
I see
You know
what
what I
you're
mean?
saying.
Like, I can't be thinking like, okay, I need to break this grip like this,
Right.
and then I need to twist the arm. Like, I can't be thinking like that. That needs to be instinctual.
Right.
But as far as the direction in which I want to move and like where I'm trying to, like what avenue I'm trying to go down, if I see he's a little bit, okay, he's like susceptible to his right arm is like extended a lot. Well, now I know that that's a direction that I can go down.
Okay.
Now, what I'm going to get from there, I don't know, because he hasn't given it to me yet.
Right.
But I'm not thinking about like, oh, I'm going to get an underhook here, and then I'm going to knee cut here.
Right. You
and then
can't be on
like,
the details.
Yeah, like the specific details, like that needs to be kind of like just flow.
Right.
Flow state.
That's good that you're able to make those general decisions because you can't
Yeah.
say that you're going, like you said, you can't go into the details
Yeah,
because you're wasting time and things are happening so fast.
Exactly.
Like, how are you going to deal with that?
exactly.
So you have a general approach, and if that doesn't, that's
Right.
like you said, it's a good point about being well rounded.
Yeah.
Because if you're one of those leg lockers and you stay in those leg entanglements,
Yeah.
you're going to miss a lot of opportunities.
And that stuff just kind of goes back to the concept, to the concepts.
Right.
Yeah.
So all that instruction, that's the major. Well, obviously, mat time is probably the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
So mat time, and then would you label it mat time first, then instructional study as the best way to get to develop?
Yeah, I would say so. I think a lot of conversation is really good too.
I agree with you. I think Joseph Chen was saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's
a good
something
concept.
that's like starting to gain popularity now. But I think just like talking with the people that you're rolling with, it's really important just
Right.
because they're gonna have a better understanding of like the opposite end, right?
Right.
Like when I'm drilling my brother, I'll be like, hey, how's the pressure here? You know, like how should I get this underhook? Should I like kind of shorten the underhook? Do I need more pressure on your hip? Like just different things like that.
Right.
I'll be asking him questions as it's happening, or even after the roll.
Right.
I'll be like, hey, how did this specific thing feel? Was it tight there? Was it, like different things like that. And then I'll try it again, like right after the roll, and see what I need to tweak.
That's a good point. And you're right. That's something that's coming up now. That conversation after the roll.
Yeah.
Is because like, at least in my experience, whenever it was after roll, I was always like, oh, okay, go to the next one.
Right.
But there's always something in your head that like, oh, was that close? Did I almost get a submission? Why didn't it feel right?
Right.
I was talking to a teammate of mine, Pedro Cortina, and I had an arm bar, but he was able to slip it out. And I'm like, why? It was like, why didn't I get it? Was it the position or whatever?
Right.
And that conversation changed my whole approach. And I was thinking about it for a while afterwards too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My whole approach to how to get the armbar from that specific position. That's important, man.
Yeah. I think that was something else that I started doing really, really early on. That's one of those things that I did from like white belt. So anytime I would roll with anybody, I would ask them like, hey, how'd you feel? Did you see anything that I needed to work on? Did you see any mistakes? Like, I would ask everyone every single round. And I didn't care if the next round started. I would still sit there and I would ask people. I remember one time, this was kind of my bad, but
a good story always starts that way.
Yeah, my friends kind of make fun of me for this. So I had just gotten my blue belt, and I had been so used to doing that. I mean, I kept on doing that even after the fact.
Right.
I ended up beating up on some guy who had just gotten his brown belt. Yeah. And I ended up tapping him like 5 times. But my friends were sitting against the wall mats watching me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the roll, because I was like so used to it, and genuinely, I was like, man, like maybe I did mess up somewhere, right? And he's a brown belt. He's gonna be able to tell me. So I asked him. I was like, hey, is there anything that you saw that like maybe I should fix? And he was like, no, man, you did fine. I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't think anything of it. And my friends, I kind of like crawled over to my friends, and they were like, you're such an asshole. I was like, I didn't mean it that way, but now that you say it, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, but that happens, dude. Sometimes you're tapping out. You're an athlete, dude. So you're trained. Your mat time, your timing is a lot higher than somebody that's a hobbyist. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Maybe they know something that's coming, but they just can't stop it.
Right, exactly. And that I just wasn't.
But how crazy would it be? The guy being like, "Well, you did tap me in that armbar, but if you just shift your hips a little bit."
Right. So thinking about it now, I would have been like, what the fuck? Like that guy had no reason to tell me anything. But at the time, I actually was just like, oh, I wonder what he's gonna tell me.
I get it.
At that point, I was just like such a student.
Yeah.
I mean, I still am, but like I was just trying to soak up everything that I could.
Right.
That me asking that question wasn't necessarily like malicious or anything. It was just like, oh, maybe he like saw something in my knee cut or saw
that
something in the like I mean, I guess.
You saw something in my knee cut that apparently worked.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, man. So we're closing this off. Is there anything that, man, there's so much other stuff that I want to cover, but we'll have another time. But
we could do another one.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to promote? Anything that's coming up for you competition wise?
No, competition wise, I'm kind of chill right now. Anything I want to promote? Mortalis, where you train? Yeah, Mortalis, man. Open mat tomorrow. Well, yes. This is coming out next week, so. Sundays at 11. Yeah. I'm going to be there tomorrow. 7 in the morning. That's going to be dope. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah. I'm going to bring all my Rugrats. I'm going to try to see if I can get at least 2 rounds in. Yeah, right? That'd be great. That'd be dope. Yeah, but mostly I'm going to get your footage for the promo reel. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. As far as anything else, promoting anything else, I can't really think of anything. I guess follow me on at Steven Perez JJ. Yeah. Okay. STEVEN PEREZ JJ. All right, man. That's good. Thank you for coming on. Let's do it again. Thank you guys for having me.